had a pretty busy June, which meant less time for video games. And I also spent quite a bit of time playing through or replaying a game that I'd gotten halfway through, or more accurately, two of them. So that's what I'm going to talk about. The first game that I ended up getting halfway through and replaying was Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, the newest title in the Rune Factory series. And I played this purely because of nostalgia. I remember playing Rune Factory Frontier on the Nintendo Wii, and I remember enjoying it. I liked that there was combat on top of a farming, there were cute little spirits that controlled elemental synergies, and you could kind of min-max stuff to get the perfect seasons, and that's about all I remember, to be honest. So, what about Guardians of Azuma? Well, there's a lot there that I remember. You've got the farming, you've got the combat, you've got the cute creatures. And actually, the combat's way more in-depth than I remember. There's actual skill trees, you have multiple different weapons, and instead of it just being you versus the monsters, it's you and a party of your villagers. Because yes, as part of a story, you end up going to a lot of different villages. Each one is plagued with various afflictions relating to the god being missing or losing their power. So you find the thing, you get in touch with the god, congratulations, god is revived, and then of course the villagers ask you to be the village chief, because who else would they ask? Yeah, as you could probably tell, the story's pretty cliche, and I wasn't a big fan of that part. But the village management, while simple, was pretty fun, and I liked the farming. Thing is, I kind of got bored of the story about halfway through as it was extremely formulaic. So, I restarted, and I did a self-imposed challenge of making 1 million gold as soon as possible. A video on that soon. TLDR, I thought it was going to take me like an in-game month. Took way less time to do. And so, Guardians of Azuma reconfirmed a lot of the thoughts that I have about myself and cozy games. Which is to say, yeah, I like a lot of the elements. I like farming, and especially min-maxing the farm. But I need other genres to be mixed in, because I don't just want to play a farming game. I want to play a farming and game. Another really good example of this, which you can check out a review for, up in the card and down below, Moonstone Island. That's a farming game with a little bit of survival base building elements, and basically Pokemon-style creature taming and combat, which was really fun. I will admit I didn't do too much of a base building, but oh man, the creature taming, I did so much of that. It was really fun and super satisfying to put together a team to beat that game's final boss. Then the other game that I spent a lot of time playing and replaying in June was Lies of P, because Overture, the DLC, got shadow dropped. Now, when I played Lies of P originally, I got about halfway through, and they got busy with stuff. I think Path of Exile came out with new content, and I was like, oh, I have to go play that and make videos. So now felt like a really good time to return to the game and play through it start to finish. The thing is, when I got actually right about to the point where I restarted the first time, I ended up getting a new monitor. And I was like, man, the game looks so much better now. I swear it has made me a better gamer. Not going to tell you what it is, so it doesn't sound like I'm just shilling for a monitor company. But yeah, I restarted again. You know what? It was 100% worth. I progressed really quickly, and I have had a blast. I'm now, yet again, back at the same point that I was, and I think I am now going to finally progress through the rest of the game, only getting sidetracked for the DLC. So, with that out of the way, the long ramble about how I got here, what do I think of the game? First up, it is a really good Souls-like. It combines elements of Sekiro with the perfect parrying, something that I also enjoyed in First Berserker Kazan. It has more immersive story elements, which I actually think is missing from a lot of the games that imitate from Software, where they try to go for that weird nebulous will they won't they lore, and it ends up just being confusing and hard to follow. This is a very direct story with surprisingly good voice acting and really good narrative frameworks that draw me in immediately. But then you also have the aggression from Bloodborne, where most of the time your best option is to just hit the enemy if you're not actively blocking their attacks. Something else that I found really satisfying is the perfect parrying can deal damage to enemy weapons. So if you parry, at least with an enemy that actually has a weapon, eventually it's going to break. This reduces their damage and reduces their range, and it feels like a huge advantage, which turns a fight from you're just trying to survive and blocking as much as you can, to now you have the upper hand, and you can destroy that boss. Plus, the developers know that bosses are front and center. They don't quite have the level of checkpointing that Elden Ring or a lot of other modern Souls-like games do, but they make up for it with each level being relatively short, and having pretty good pathing where you can get where you want to go pretty easily without getting lost, and there's lots of doors to open to double back, so that you can always go from a save point to a boss with minimal frustration and minimal trash along the way. So in short, I kind of feel like I've barely scratched the surface as I've played half the game 3 times. I'm very much looking forward to going all the way through and making a video or two summing up my thoughts, like how dex builds feel ridiculously OP, because on my first playthrough I went with balanced, on my second playthrough I went with strength, and on my third playthrough, or replaythrough, whatever you want to call it, I went for dex, and it has been so much easier. I guess if you played lots of Liza P, let me know down below, is dex just that OP, or am I just really bad with strength weapons? Then the last thing that I did during June was dive into Steam Next. And I always love this because I enjoy playing game demos, trying new stuff, all that. And yes, I know, these days with Steam being what it is, I can kind of do that at any time. Like I could just go on Steam right now and find demos. But I kind of don't want to. I like having a big event or a reason to play a bunch of demos all at once, and then wait a while and play a bunch all at once again. And out of all the demos that I tried, the one that really stood out to me is Moonlighter 2, because I love the original Moonlighter. It was basically half cozy game shop sim and half Zelda-like dungeon crawler. Remember, there's always got to be a little bit of something else mixed in with the cozy games for me. And so Moonlighter 2 iterates on this by going full roguelike, where all of a sudden, instead of just being a shop sim, it is a shop sim roguelike, where literally as you go through the day, you get perks and quote-unquote level up your shop. It's awesome. I love that. And the dungeon stuff, it's just a straight roguelike now. The combat feels a lot better. And I think there's a lot of really cool things with the relics and relic management. But you know what? I have a dedicated video where I talk about the Steam Next stuff and especially elaborate on a lot of Moonlighter 2. So if you're at all curious, then do be sure to check that out. Also, if you want to know my full thoughts after Moonlighter 2 releases, get subscribed. I'm 100% going to play it. Super excited for that title, and looking forward to sharing more thoughts. Now, aside of that, with June wrapping up and looking forward to July, I have to say there are not that many games that I'm expecting myself to play that are new. Shadow Labyrinth looks interesting to me. Probably going to check that one out. And Wuchang Fallen Feathers, I've been looking forward to ever since I saw the first trailer. I think it was at Summer Game Fest 2024. Now, is it all going to be style over substance? I don't know. That's a little bit of a concern when you see flashy trailers. I had the same concern with Black Myth Wukong. That game turned out great, so maybe lightning does strike twice, and I'm looking forward to finding out either way. And so I'm probably going to dive in and explore some stuff from my backlog because I have so many titles. Or maybe I'll just play more Brotato and Monster Train, because I've been doing a lot of that too. I just didn't want to talk about it too much in this video, because I feel like if I say, hey, this month I played Brotato for the 12th month in a row, you guys might get just a little bit sick of it. I don't know. Let me know. If you want to see more of my Brotato stuff, what I'm doing in that game. And also, let me know what you played in June, what you're looking forward to in July. With that said, I'm going to get going, so thank you very much for watching to the end. Glad you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.